Hey, what's going on, everyone? Thank you for coming to watch. So I've got an update for you guys on some pretty big and active weather days we've got going on across many parts of the United States and also out here in the Atlantic. We're going to be talking about both severe weather and hurricane and tropical storm development that we're going to be seeing throughout this week, the rest of this week into next week. So I've got all the details coming up right here. All right, so looking here at our wide view of the Atlantic, you can see that we have tropical. This is a newly formed potential tropical cyclone 16. I did a video, I think this was yesterday, showing that we had a potential for some homebrew tropical cyclone development. Well, here we have this wave marked by the National Hurricane Center. All right, so this is a potential tropical cyclone. It hasn't formed yet. So basically, when you get a homebrew system or a homebrew system, the storm needs to develop very quickly. All right, so that's why we jumped from like around a 30-40% chance of development now to a 60% chance of development throughout the next 40 hours. All right, we are expecting the system to become a high-end tropical storm as it reaches the Outer Banks of North Carolina. All right. So right now the numbers aren't not too amazing here. We got 1,012 millibars central pressure with maximum sustained winds at around 35 miles an hour. These numbers will go up, especially these winds here. I think these winds could really get strong up to maybe 55 miles an hour. So you're going to get some pretty blustery and dreary kind of conditions out here along the inner coastal regions of the Delmarva area down through Virginia and then the Outer Banks, North Carolina, down through South Carolina. You guys all are going to feel some pretty big impacts by the system. Out here in the North Atlantic, we still got Hurricane Nigel just doing its thing other than bothering the fish here, all right? So it's pretty much Category 1 hurricane at this point, 977 millibar, 80 mile an hour hurricane here, looking pretty good, moving very fast though, 37 miles an hour. I just feel like when was the last time we saw a hurricane move at 37 miles an hour? But yeah, this Nigel is pretty much doing its thing up there. It may get close to parts of Europe. All right, so this may get close to Great Britain. I think you guys out there, I think that, I really don't know what the concept is for you guys, but sometimes you feel like when these storms get pulled in by that Arctic high, and then near the North Pole, it kind of it re-strengthens it into some sort of other storm that I haven't really got to in my meteorological terms, but anyways, you guys could definitely though have a chance for getting some pretty strong winds and maybe even some rainfall because of Nigel. All right. And behind all this, we have. Let me go to our 7-day outlook here, so I can show you guys a better look at things. We have a huge area that we are really, really concerned about. We're gonna have to watch the system very closely. All right. Excuse me. This is a tropical wave that is currently coming off the coast of the Cabo Verde Islands here. All right, and this has already an 80% chance of development, and the National Hurricane Center is already saying that this has a pretty likelihood chance of forming at least a tropical depression, maybe even a tropical storm as we go into early next week. I think this is going to become a hurricane, and this is going to be another system we're going to really have to watch closely for our friends out here in the Caribbean. I definitely think you guys down here in the northern South America, I think you guys could definitely feel some impacts from the system. I don't know exactly how strong it's going to be and where it's exactly going to be, but it's definitely moving in this direction. So we got to watch out for some impacts to you guys, maybe even towards these islands here, the DM. We have Cuba in there, even the Bahamas, and then if we get to a point here if we actually do, which it seems like the models have been showing that the storm could take a path like that, then we start worrying about the entire East Coast, because we definitely don't want any big hurricanes lurking around out there in the Southwest Atlantic. But anyways, we'll get back into things here. Looking at now our tropical storm path here. So we're looking at potential tropical cyclone 16. All right, this is expected to become a tropical storm later today. So by the time you guys are watching this video, I bet you guys this is tropical storm. I think I forgot the name. It starts with an O. We're up to O. Odala. I keep wanting to say Odalia, but that's definitely not it. But anyways, we are expecting this to become a tropical storm, continuing into Friday. We're getting into Saturday. This makes a direct landfall on the Outer Banks of North Carolina. You can see we already have tropical storm warnings up for parts of Maryland. This goes down the coast from Delaware down through the coast of Virginia, North Carolina, all the way towards South Carolina here near Myrtle Beach. Okay. I think we're gonna have a pretty good wind field here. I think we could even see wind gusts maybe reaching 50 miles an hour across the south shore of Long Island. And while the storm is at this point here, so it's gonna be a big storm. All right, but this plows right through that area, still chugging along as a tropical storm here by 8 p.m. Saturday. So it's moved over land already, and it's a pretty weak storm. It's not even a hurricane, but it's still a tropical storm. And then finally we get to 8 a.m. Sunday. It's starting to pass over Virginia now, going right through, directly through the Delmarva area. I think you are going to see big waves out here on the southern Maryland coastline here. I really do think that you're going to get some pretty big time wave swells, even on just pretty much in the entire intercoastal regions of the Delmarva area. Boy, you are going to see some pretty big waves out there. And then this goes into New Jersey. You guys are in the southern areas of New Jersey, are in our 3-day cone based off the National Hurricane Center. And then in the cone of uncertainty, this is anytime after 8 a.m. Sunday. You guys out here in southern New England are pretty much all in this cone of uncertainty here. Marked as a tropical depression, so this storm would most likely be an extra tropical storm. This would be just a post-tropical cyclone here. Just having tropical depression strength winds as it moves into your area, but we're expecting this thing to go right through all of New Jersey. The center of the storm will move right through Long Island here, just on the south shore is where that center of the storm will move through, but just because the center of the storm is not moving through your area definitely does not mean that you're not going to get any impacts. I know most of you know that, but for any of you that don't, just make sure you realize that, because if you're in this cone, that means you are going to get impacts that are going to be equivalent to how strong we're marking the storm to be here. So let's say we're getting to 8 p.m. Saturday and you're here in the mountainous regions of central Virginia. You could have winds that could be a tropical storm, as strong as tropical storm status, and then you're going to get some rainfall at that too. Same thing for you guys in southern New England in this cone of uncertainty. We just don't know where exactly it's going to be at this point, but you still could probably get some tropical depression force winds out towards Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New York City, Long Island, and southern New York State. All right, so that's pretty much it for our current cone here. We look at now our rainfall totals here. So this has been changing a lot. This has been ticking farther east, meaning that we are probably going to see some bigger rainfall totals across the coastline here. But I think we're going to get some even higher rainfall totals, especially in this area right here. All right. I think we are going to see some yellows pop up more in this area, maybe even some oranges here, marking 2 to 4, maybe 6 to 10 inches of rain. You see, just northeast of the Wilmington area in this orange here, I think you could see a picture like that anywhere in this region right here. All right. I expect a multiple very, very heavy rain bands to move through this area, and I really do think that the first one is going to be definitely during the hardest rain. I think you're going to get a few inches of rain from that band, but there's going to be a second one weaker when the storm itself moves through the region. I think that's going to dump at least another half inch of rain towards this area. But for now, we see down through the coastal regions of the Carolinas, especially North Carolina here. You can see we're marked. You guys are marked in a 4 to 6 inch kind of area here. This includes the Terras. This is just northeast of Wilmington. A lot of rain is expected here, and this goes up the coast of North Carolina, out towards this peninsula here. All right, and then we go up towards the Virginia coastline, North Fork, Virginia. You guys at around, I would say, 4 to 5 inches of rain would be a good estimate. All right, but just north of you guys, like if you're in the northern top of the city, you could even get a difference as big as 15 hundredths of an inch of rain more than in the southern area of North Fork. All right, it's going to be very close. But we go up towards where Maryland and Virginia meet here. That's where we see 4 to 6 inches popping up again. All right, so we go into Maryland here. Pretty much the entire state. Although, I mean, if you're way out west, then really just about an inch or 2 inches. But if you're out here in the inner coastal regions, especially of Maryland or anywhere near there, all right, you could definitely see 2 to 4 inches, maybe towards the coastline near Salisbury. I don't know if I'm saying this right. It might be Salisbury. Maybe 4 to 6 inches of rain. We go up all the way towards the Boston area. This includes all of southern New England, this entire coastline, including the entire state of New Jersey, in a 2 to 4 inch rainfall total. Just kind of graphic here. I think these numbers are going to rise. I think we are going to see more yellows pop up in that region, as we will probably we're certainly going to get a lot of rain, but really the question is, where is the storm exactly going to be going? All right, but those cities goes all the way down the coastline: Boston, Hartford, New York City, Philadelphia, D.C., Salisbury, Norfolk, Terrace, Wilmington. All of you guys are pretty much going to see at least 2.5 inches rain, based off the National Hurricane Center. So we really got to watch out for, especially that flooding rainfall. All right, we'll look at a storm surge map here. It's not too concerning. I wouldn't say it's terrible. All right, but this is some pretty high storm surge. You're seeing, the fair amount is around 3 to 4 inches, 3 to 4 feet of storm surge. All right. So we'll start off down here by the South Santee River. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but this is in South Carolina. You guys around just up to 3 feet of storm surge, going all the way up to Surf City, North Carolina, in this entire region here, where we get this this coastal bend here of North Carolina and South Carolina. All right, about 1 to 3 inches of storm surge. Then, as you go closer to those areas that are going to be hit harder because the storm is going to be further developed as it impacts you guys, that's where we see 2 to 4 inches show up here. We see near Albemarle, Pimlico Sound. All right, you guys at around 2 to 4 inches, going all the way up here to through the Outer Banks of North Carolina, all the way up to the Virginia coastline, and then we go down to southern Maryland here near Chincoteague. I don't know if I'm saying that right. You guys at around up to 4 feet, of storm surge. We go to the lower Chesapeake Bay into these rivers here. A lot of these rivers are going to they're going to certainly be at flood stage. A lot of lakes and rivers are going to be at flood stage. indentation for sure. We're going to see just some pretty big storm surge in general from the storm, and those water levels in all bodies of waters are going to rise, especially in these lakes and rivers out here in North Carolina up towards Virginia, and then the intercoastal regions of the Delmarva area. All right, we go up towards Fenwick Island and Chincoteague. All right, 1 to 3 feet storm surge here towards the upper Chesapeake Bay. 1 to 3 feet of storm surge is expected as well. All right, so that takes care of the storm surge here and just all the details on potential tropical cyclone 16. I want to just look at here. I'll do this on the fly. I just want to look at we'll go back to tropical tidbits here. All right, and I just want to show you guys the North Atlantic, just because we have a big potential for some dangerous hurricanes out there, and I really do think that one of them, which we marked in the beginning of the video, has a pretty good shot at becoming a very strong hurricane. So I apologize for the bumps and bruises in the video here. I'm trying to pull this up for you guys. I don't know what's going on here. It's very slow, but I think we can do it here. All right. And so here, we'll look at the North Atlantic, all right? So we have our storm here. This is our tropical wave that's coming off the coast of the Capo Verde Islands, all right? But continue watching that. That's that low pressure signal you see right there. All right, so when does this thing become a tropical depression? Well, we're getting into, this is already Sunday, and we have a pretty, an intensifying storm rapidly approaching the Lesser Antilles, all right? And now we have a tropical depression pretty much by Sunday, all right? We're going to get an idea of when this thing will become a tropical storm and then a hurricane by Sunday. So once you get to this weekend, I think we can all start making some pretty good ideas of how strong the storm will be at least. But we really don't know for the areas farther west where exactly the storm will go. All right, but when does this thing become a tropical storm? Well, I think this will become a tropical storm a lot earlier. I think we get to Monday. I think that's when we get a tropical storm here. The GFS wants this becoming I would say this could be a tropical storm here that we're looking at. So the GFS is pretty much agreeing with me here, but not a very strong one until we get to Tuesday. This thing explodes as it's rapidly intensifying. From Monday into Tuesday, we go from a low end tropical storm to maybe a low end Category 1 hurricane in less than 24 hours. All right. So by the time we get to this is not even into Wednesday really. We have a full on Category 1 hurricane that is moving north of the Lesser Antilles. All right. So one would think that this looks like it's going to do the same thing that Hurricane Lee did, because there is a trough here that could potentially be sweeping its way through the eastern U.S. But that's actually going to be the remnants of our severe weather event that we've got unfolding across the central U.S. Right? So maybe that will pick up the storm. We don't know. This is the latest GFS run. Just looking at what we could get here, we really don't know because this is so far out. But we're getting into Wednesday, we're getting into Thursday, and we have a Category 3 hurricane the morning of. All right, so this could be a pretty big topic as we get pretty much just a week out. This is exactly a week out from where we are now, and we could have a monster hurricane looking pretty much exactly like Lee right here in the southwest Atlantic. All right, so this is moving pretty close towards Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, and the northeast coastline. But our trough here, our lifesaver, once again, we could get another trough that could pick up the storm, and because it's curving up earlier, it can't really miss that trough anymore, because that trough is also moving out to sea as well. So they pretty much meet up with each other, and the storm goes like that out to sea, because that trough, all right, that trough here is also going to be moving like that. All right, and so the southern, this like southern rain band here, whatever you want to call it, this line of rain, it's going to pick up our future hurricane and it's going to pull it up north out to sea. That's kind of how things are going to work here, and we really wouldn't care much about how strong the storm gets if this were to be the picture, if this were to be the scenario that we get. But if this does get close to Bermuda or the Lesser Antilles or just these islands out here in the Caribbean, I think we've really just got to make sure we're keeping all eyes on this system. But this looks like it'll become a pretty big, potentially Category 4 hurricane as this moves uh, towards the west. And the GFS is doing something pretty wonky here, having a full-on Category 4 hurricane moving right towards Nova Scotia. And I honestly do not think that this is going to happen. So I think the GFS run here is totally incorrect after this point here. I think after, just a week out, this is pretty much all wrong. I think we're going to get a pretty different scenario here, but it may be somewhat like this. We really don't know. But what the heck? I mean, the GFS, it puts it right into Nova Scotia as a low-end Category 4 hurricane, a monster storm here, scrapes across the coast, and then stalls out, and just it does a loop-de-loop. I mean, it's so weird. These scenarios on the GFS are ridiculous, but that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna be moving on to our this is just our satellite loop for potential tropical cyclone 16. I meant to put this earlier in the video, but I'll just mention it now. So I'll pause the video because this is still trying to reload. But you can see that this is pretty close to Florida right here. This is the east coast of Florida, and this is where our storm is right now. Some pretty good convection going on across parts of the eastern side of the storm. A lot of deep reds and oranges and yellows showing up there. That signifies convection, which is high cloud thunderstorm buildup and a lot of moisture. So the fact that the storm is moving over very warm waters and it's got a lot of moisture to deal with, perfect scenario for tropical storm development. And the reason why we have home-brew here is because this is very close to the United States. This was pretty much remnants of these were just leftovers of hurricanes and tropical cyclones out in the Atlantic, and also some rainfall that moved off the coast of North Carolina. It somehow it develops itself, and that's how we get a homebrew system. So it's not, I wouldn't say it's rare, but it's not very common to get homebrew systems. But it's one thing. They're very interesting to watch here. But we keep this playing and we see what this thing is doing. All right, the rotation not too impressive with the system, but a lot of convections going on here. A lot of these blacks showing up here. That is very, very dense moisture here, and you can see that black is spreading, which means that the storm is starting to strengthen. All right, so that's it for the satellite loop here. We're going to be moving on to let me put this radar in the beginning of this section of the video here, but I'm going to be moving on to the just the United States. All right, going back to our home here. So we've finished looking at the tropics, but we're going to be looking now at the United States here with our severe weather threat. We have a pretty big scenario coming up with our wonky and weird turns and movements in the jet stream. We pretty much had a steady jet stream that kind of went like this here across the central U.S., but now we are seeing these very weird loops in the jet stream, which is certainly going to it's going to cause a lot of problems here. We're going to get huge dips in the jet streams, and then we get something like that. All right, that's really going to spark some big time severe weather events, and I'm afraid this is going to carry on into fall. So we're going to have our secondary severe weather threat of the year, where we get into September, October into November is when we have that secondary 3-month time frame for severe weather, and we're going to get scenarios like this. So starting out here, you can see that we do already have some pretty strong storms associated with a big system moving its way across the I guess this would be just around the Missouri, just the central U.S. in general. All right, this is localized right over southern Missouri. You can see the center of the storm is right there. This is pushing off to the southeast. All right, and we got a lot of rainfall, showers and thunderstorms moving their way across, especially parts of northwestern Arkansas, and the stronger, maybe even severe thunderstorms moving their ways across eastern Oklahoma. We're really gonna have to watch out for those storms. We do have I think we have a slight risk for severe weather today out for this region. So this is going to be something you're gonna have to watch. I think you're gonna have some pretty strong winds, maybe some large hail, and then maybe a tornado or two that are going to be that threat is certainly there. It's going to be associated with these storms throughout the rest of the day. And then here is our further developing system right up here. All right, we have a big system ahead of us that's going to be developing as it moves across the central U.S. And it rides the jet stream. I think we are going to see a very, very big severe weather event at least. You could call this an outbreak if we see either an enhanced risk for a very, very large area, or if we get a moderate risk, all right? But I do think that this is going to be a substantial severe weather event for the central U.S. So we'll get things rolling here, going to our NAM 3K model. All right, we're going to be looking at, actually, we'll skip this. We'll go back. We'll look at the NAM here, actually, yeah. All right. So going to our NAM 3K model here for the central U.S. So I apologize for the interruptions of the video. Just I don't know what happened here. It's kind of all over the place. The placement of my tabs was kind of weird here. But again, looking at the NAM 3K model. All right. So looking at where our initial storms are. This is where our first storms are going to be moving across. All right. So the strongest of storms, you can tell, are in this area here of southeastern South Dakota, and then this goes into parts of northwestern Iowa. All right, and I think that we are going to get a pretty substantial severe weather threat with these storms as well. Excuse me, I really don't know what's going on with me today, but I think we are going to see all hazards with this. We do have a slight risk for severe weather out for this region as well. All right, we see what these storms do. They try and form a line. This tries to develop into a pretty big system, and we all of a sudden have storms firing across all the way up here in extreme northern Minnesota down towards, let me get rid of that this shape here, down towards Nebraska, and then goes all the way into Kansas. All right, and this is all in the same system, but we have multiple areas that we're going to watch for severe weather. One out here in northwestern Minnesota, you can see a line that's bending out here, a very small line, but this will definitely bring some damaging wind gusts to the region. All right, then we got another bunch of storms. It'll probably be another damaging wind maker, potentially a large hail maker. All right. And I think these are going to be where our strongest storms are going to be located, right here into parts of northern Nebraska. Look at all this thunderstorm action going on up here. Got a lot of pinks and purples showing up, indicating extreme rainfall. And I think we're going to get some pretty large hail out here, and I think there will be a slightly elevated tornado threat, but pretty much all hazards for these. All right, and these storms continue firing across the region, and the southern portion of the storm kind of takes over here All right, you can see this line stretching all the way from southern to into parts of southeastern Nebraska, all the way down towards southwestern Missouri. I think you guys are pretty much going to see a substantial severe weather event, not only threat but an event for severe weather into we're getting into tomorrow. So we're getting this in the middle of the night tonight into tomorrow, and we have a big line of storms going all the way from the Dakotas towards Illinois and parts of the Midwest, and we just got a huge bunch of rainfall and thunderstorms in this entire region. And I think that at this point we're pretty much going to have a disorganized area of showers and thunderstorms, and this shows that there is room for another system to come in. And the storm it almost gets taken up by our storm coming up here. This is our storm that's taking all this moisture off towards the west. All right, and boom, right here. This is where you start seeing that storm coming in. These are storms that are starting to march across the front of the system. This is parts of the southern Dakota. This is southeastern South Dakota, and across parts of eastern Nebraska. That's where our frontal line starts forming, and boom, right here, our severe weather event kicks off right here. We're getting into Saturday. This is 4 p.m. Saturday, and you have strong to severe storms going all the way down towards the north central areas of Oklahoma. Very strong storms, especially damaging wind producers, tornado producers for sure. Both hazards are pretty much going to be likely here for parts of eastern Kansas. I really do think that these looking like these storms here, they could be. They could be certainly tornado warned. A lot of these storms, because they're pretty much they're aligned into one line here. So they're gonna be tornado producers for sure. But for a very short amount of time before this thing bends out, and it becomes a damaging wind line. All right, and pretty much after dinner time here, we still have some very explosive storms. Look at all the storm action showing up here across parts of Minnesota, going to into North Dakota, going all the way down towards northwestern Iowa. A lot of very, very intense storm action. I think we could get an enhanced risk for this area up here, going all the way towards the United States and Canada border. All right, and then another area of an enhanced risk down here in southern in northern Oklahoma and southern Kansas. All right, big area here that's going to be receiving some pretty strong to severe storms, and then we go all the way towards this is the middle of the night, Saturday to Sunday, and we've just got a very, very big line of storms moving its way across the central U.S. All right. So for the last part of the update, we'll look at our current SPC outlook here. So for day one, we have two slight risks. That's for this area here. I noted here in parts of central Nebraska going down towards northwestern Kansas is including McCook and Colby, Kansas, and McCook, Nebraska. All right, and then we go down pretty much for the surrounding areas. You got a marginal risk, but going down towards southern areas of southern Oklahoma and then northern Texas, you have another slight risk. All right, this is including Dallas, Fort Worth, Arlington, Plano, and Garland, Texas. So you gotta watch out for some pretty strong to severe storms for that area. Tornado threat, you got a 5% risk for tornadoes for that northern slight risk up here in Nebraska and Kansas. All right, 2% risk surrounding that area, and up for this area of southern Oklahoma and northern Texas. Wind threat, all right, 15% risk for both areas and a 5% risk for the surrounding areas. Hail threat, 15% risk for both areas, but there is a hatch risk up here for the northern region, in northwestern Kansas towards central Nebraska. I really do think all hazards are going to be possible for that area. All right, so watch out for some pretty big hail, especially out here in northern regions. All right, we get to tomorrow. We have a slight risk again up for this area just farther north. All right, surrounded by a marginal risk. And down here in the Outer Banks of North Carolina, a slight risk is in place because of that tropical system that's going to be moving into the area. Marginal risk surrounding that. Tornado threat, 5% for the Outer Banks of North Carolina, 2% for the surrounding areas, and for this area out here in the Dakotas. All right, that wind threat, 5% for both areas, 15% risk for damage for large hail out here in southern South Dakota going towards northern Nebraska. All right, day 3 outlook. This is our big day for severe weather. We have a very, very large slight risk stretching all the way from southern Minnesota, southern extreme southeastern South Dakota, all the way down towards central and southern portions of Oklahoma. This I'm expecting to become changed to a enhanced risk. Let's say this slight risk spreads out and an enhanced risk and large enhanced risk takes over. That's when we could get a moderate risk. That's just a sign from the National Weather Service, or Storm Prediction Center, I should say, that's noting that the storm is going to be very, very strong. All right. Probabilistically, 15% risk for severe thunderstorms for this area. All right, so that's all I got for you guys. Thanks so much for coming to watch. I apologize for the interruptions of the video. I just, I don't know. It's just, I'm trying my best to get these updates for you guys out here. I got a lot of schoolwork. It's very busy after school. I've got a very big day and throughout the week. So I'm going to be a lot busier than normal. So we're getting it back into that time frame where we go back towards where my channel actually was starting out. It's going to be more like that, where I'm uploading rather than like every day to every other day. Now pretty much like a few days a week. But the weekends I'll be uploading pretty frequently. So look out for some shorts, some community posts. Definitely check out the community. I'd love to have you guys out there. All right, and obviously our main updates and videos. So again, thank you so much for coming to watch, and I'll see you guys in the next video.